Hello and welcome to this Dr. Maths key skill video on knowing the names of quadrilaterals. Now let's first define what a quadrilateral is. Now a quadrilateral is a 2D shape. So a 2D shape is just a shape that's flat. So this, for example, would be a 2D shape because it's flat, it doesn't have a third dimension. And this 2D shape has 4 straight edges. So it's got 4 sides and they have to be straight. Edge just means side. So what shapes do you know that have 4 sides and they're all straight? Well, the obvious one you might be thinking of is a square. So this is a square. And what do we know about the square? Well, all the sides are the same length. And the way we could indicate that is to put a little mark. So we put 1 mark here, and then we put 1 mark here. And if they both have 1 mark, it means they have the same length. This has the same length, and this has the same length. So this is a square. And it also has 4 right angles. Now, you may or may not know about angles, but a right angle is where you have like a sort of exactly straight corner like this. And this would be 90 degrees, but we're not going to go into that now. So that's another right angle, right angle, right angle. Any other 4-sided shapes you know with straight edges? Well, we've also got a rectangle as well. So you can think of a rectangle like a stretched square. So this is a rectangle. And what things do we know about a rectangle? Well, we can see that this side and this side has the same length. So we're going to put a single mark there. Now this side and this side, they have the same length, but it's not the same side as that. So I'm going to put 2 marks here, and then I'm going to put 2 marks here to say that that side matches that side in length. What other 4-sided shapes do we know? Well, we've got something like this. And this is known as a trapezium. And if you are an American person watching this video, it's known as a trapezoid. So that's the American spelling, and that is the British English spelling. And what can we say about this? Well, none of the sides are necessarily the same length. So this side is not the same as this, that might not be the same as this. However, can you see that this top side and this bottom side, in this case, those opposite sides, they're in the same direction. So look, this side is going in that direction, and this side of the bottom is also going in the same direction. And these are known as parallel sides. So they're parallel, which means they're going in the same direction. And the way we can indicate that is if we put a little arrow here and a little arrow here. The arrow sort of says that side and that side are in the same direction. So trapezium has a pair of parallel sides. What other shapes are there? Well, you've also got a square if you kind of sit on it. So if you take a square and sit on it, so it kind of flattens it a bit, that looks like a flattened square, doesn't it? Now, just because you sit on it and it kind of flattens over, that doesn't necessarily change the length of the edges. So basically, we're going to keep all these edges the same length. It's just kind of tilted over. And when we have a tilted square like that, that is known as a rhombus. Now we've got a few more shapes. If we do the same with a rectangle, so we just kind of tilt it over a bit, so flatten it a bit, then this is known as a parallelogram. It's quite hard to spell. So it's the word parallelogram. And this has a few properties. Now firstly, can you see this side and this side are in the same direction? So I'm going to put a little arrow there. And this side, they're in the same direction as each other. So we're going to put 2 arrows to say that this 2 arrow side matches this 2 arrow side like that. Now there's a few more. We've got this shape here. If I was to ask you, what real life object does that look like? What would you say? Well, it looks like a kite that you can fly. Now can we see that this length is the same as this length? So let's put 1 little mark. And this length is the same as this length, so it has 2 marks like that. So that's what a kite is. And finally there's a kind of special kite which looks like this. And this is known as an arrowhead. Now if you think about what we know about this arrowhead, can you see that this side here is the same as this side, the same length? And this length here is the same length of this side here. And it's kind of very similar to here. You've got like two sides which are of equal length, they're next to each other, and these sides of equal length which are next to each other. Look, we've got two sides of equal length next to each other, and the same here. So actually it has the same properties, the same features of a kite, but you can see it kind of looks a bit different. The way it's different, by the way, is that this angle here, that angle there is more than 180, so that's known as a reflex angle, but you may not have encountered angles yet, so don't worry if you don't know about that. For the moment, we just want to be able to recognise these different shapes and be able to name them and hopefully get the spelling right as well.